We are back here on Commanders in the Chat, episode 75. And what a momentous number. But we are here. What's going on, Rob?
All right, we're here. It's just like you said. Last feels like a kid on the last day of school. I'm ready.
Pretty much, yeah. This is almost as far as from a um Washington Commander season, this is the season finale for this team. So we definitely gonna get into it today. We'll talk about I guess we'll just start off the rip is before we go forward for our final game, week 18 versus the Dallas Cowboys. We'll kind of go back and look at last week's loss to the 49ers. We lost by a final score of 27-10. So, Rob, what was your thoughts on our 12th L of the season? What you got?
I wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Um, I think when we did the show, Jacoby was gonna be the starter. I think later on, I think that day he showed up on the depth chart or the injury report rather as had a hamstring injury. Didn't start, didn't play. He stood it up. He was the emergency quarterback. Jake from State Farm was the backup, was good for him. I liked him in preseason. I thought he should have been probably the backup over Jacoby. Yeah, it wasn't as bad. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the entire game. Really not much. Really wasn't much to watch. It wasn't much to care for. I think I was more worried about what did I end up watching? Oh, I ended up watching the majority of the Cardinals-Eagles game for draft position because I think once I switched it over to Red Zone and Scott Hansen had mentioned it was 21-21. So I put that game on, paid attention to that game. I think I don't remember what I thought it was going to be, what the score was going to be. I think I said like 42-10, something like that.
Yeah, I gotta remember.
So I think I got the 10 right, about half off on the 49ers. But yeah, it was a lot of what I expected. I didn't expect this team to really fight much. I didn't think it was really going to be competitive. It was 10-10 at one point. Sam Howell finally looked halfway decent.
Yeah.
But another loss puts us in position to draft somebody like Caleb Williams, which we'll get into. We might get into a little bit here later on, but yeah, it was what I expected. It just wasn't as bad.
This guy, this love affair for Caleb Williams. Man, ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, man, American dream, right?
Right.
We on a doorstep. I mean,
Exactly.
Want to bring the local kid back home. So, yeah, and everybody, we talked about it last Thursday. Like, oh, this might, it's a game to skip. And even we had one of our good friends, Candy Waller from Bowie TV, pretty much told us Commanders fans like, hey, find something to do that's enjoyable in those 3 hours. Don't watch the game. But I ended up was a glutton for punishment. I did watch the game. I said I was gonna do this. I was gonna go to an art museum, but I didn't go. I wanted to watch this game from start to finish. And like you said, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I think I had them 42-10, so it wasn't as bad. I mean, you look at obviously. I think we were fighting that game in going into the halftime because we were up. We weren't up, but we were tied 10-10 with what was it, 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. So then obviously San Francisco pretty much went on in a basketball term a 17-0 run. Essentially, to win this football game. But I mean, it was good, and it was good to see Chase and Trent. I mean, it's one of the things where it's like you just look at it just from a standpoint. You still root for those kind of guys, and that's the thing where people say you don't fall in love with players and this, that, third, But I mean, it's a human instinct when you like we follow the team. We know about these guys. It's and so we know there's trials and tribulations with the organization. Now they're at a better place, and You look at like with Trent, him having a full circle moment, everything that happened with him, and then come here, and then essentially they clinched, number one overall seed in NFC
Yeah.
this week, and then with that win, and then like Chase, another one where you're just really happy for him, and this is kind of the before I finalize my point, and it's just good to see those guys. And then even seeing even though this is not relative to the game, and someone kind of a little bit going a tad bit off subject, but like seeing when Montez Sweat found out he was a Pro Bowler. Those type of moments, I just think those are just, those things, even though they're not no longer with the organization, you still have a type of affinity and a love for that. You love to see what those guys do. But yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And it's funny in the preseason, I thought it's going to be kind of one of those games where we'll see. Could this, that was going to be a barometer for me. Like as far as I figured we were going to be somewhat in playoff contention at this point in the season, and how this would have played out. But yeah, just didn't go into our favor. Lost by 17, and like you said, and Wick actually kind of flipped the order in reverse. So so obviously, as you mentioned earlier, with our loss and then coupled with the Arizona win, the Washington Commanders now move up to the second overall pick. So this is where we could potentially stay permanently. Who knows? With the outcome against Dallas or what have you. Now we're at 2. So what's your thoughts at now at 2? Because I think last week we were at 3rd.
We're at
So we
3.
were.
Yep.
Yeah, last week. Now we moved up, probably to maybe our potential final spot at 2. So your thoughts on getting that second overall pick?
I love it. I think this is the first year that I've actually rooted for us to lose. I've always tried to be a type
Yeah,
of person to say, not to get too Jim Moore on everybody, but you play to win the game.
yeah,
Hello. But this year, I think it was just so bad from what we thought it was going to be that we reached a certain point where I was like, man, I just can't wait for the season to be over. Once I realized in my own eyes, and if you're on, this Commander's Twitter, there's varying of opinions all over the place. I'm of the mindset that Sam Howell isn't the dude anymore. If you're drafting second overall, chances are you don't have your quarterback. So I'm all in for Caleb Williams. I like being at 2 because you don't have to give up as much. Theoretically, you won't have to give up as much to move up one spot. Not like coincidentally, I forget what exactly it was, but I think the Bears gave up like a decent amount to move from 3 to 2 to draft Mitchell Trubisky. I don't think we have to spend that much. It's going to be a somewhat of a steep price because you still have teams like the Patriots who are in the market for a quarterback. I'm trying to think of who else is in the top 10 right now. I have it on my screen right now, but you're going to have to pay something. I think we're in a good spot. Maybe the Bears don't trade. Maybe they stick with number 1 and take Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know. But we're in a good position to get either Caleb Williams, who I'm sold on, or get somebody like Joe Alt, maybe trade back, grab Joe Alt or a dude from Penn State. Because I know you are, but I personally am not a Drake May fan. I don't think. I said it last week. I said it again. I think he's Sam Howell 2.0, and I just don't want to do that again.
No, Sam Howell is 1.0. Everything else is it's uncivilized. But yeah, yeah, I'm at this point where I think it just depends on the price tag with the situation with the Bears. I think, and from what I'm thinking, how I think the Bears, and this is me thinking about it. I think they're not going. I think they're not going to get a quarterback. I think they're going to stay with Justin Fields, as I talked about on my podcast last night, where I think they're all in and trying to get themselves together. I think they kind of could potentially be the Detroit Lions the current Detroit Lions. The Bears could be like that in 2024. And I think, and it's funny, and it dawned on me. I think it really hit me yesterday. It was like, the moves they're making. Obviously they keep Matt Eberflus, more likely going to keep him as the head coach. And then you think even the move for Montez. I mean, you think to yourself, you make a move like that and you sign him to an $100 million deal, $100+ million deal, that shows me that you kind of still want to kind of keep hope in this team, because especially making a move like that and then you're trading away a potential starter, because that it still be like a top 45 pick in the draft. So it's kind of one of those where it's like that kind of showed me like now, especially as they're winning, that they're gonna keep Justin Fields. So my thing is they if they were smart, I think you said if they don't want to take no chances and just get Marvin Harrison and just be done with it. But then a part of them thinks that, well, hey, if we go to Washington, we can still get Marvin Harrison and still get some assets. So it's kind of one of those. I think that's what's going to end up going to happen. So I think Washington, in a weird way, I think they're in a good spot to get that #1 overall pick. Because it's kind of one of those things where, like you said, and even I think when you showed me the CBS Sports one where we only really giving up a first next year, what, a 2024 third this year and a second this year, I think. Oh, what happened?
Sorry, I was muted. It
Okay, good.
was
Matter of fact,
this year's first. Yeah, because it was this year's first. I think this year's third and fifth, and next year's second, something like that.
Yeah, which is not a steep price because because my biggest thing was don't touch 2026 assets.
Yeah,
because it's to a point where you don't want to at least lose two first round picks in 2 consecutive years, especially the way this team could potentially be. So that was my biggest thing with it. But yeah, I mean, I think we might, because I don't think we've ever had the first #1 overall pick.
Never had #1.
We've never, and this might be the historic year of that potentially happening. And
we've had the second a few times.
Yeah, recently, and now he's gone.
Yep.
In a great words of emotion.
We've had, actually, in the last 12 years, we've had, by one way or the other, we've had, this is our second, if it stays, this will be our second overall pick. Would have been our fourth, but we traded that pick to the Rams in the RG3 trade, which they took, like Robinson. But I like the prospect of not having to give up 2025 first round pick, because one thing I'd hate to do is end up like the Panthers. You give up all that to move up to take Bryce Young, doesn't really pan out this season. Not only are you out your first round pick, you're out the #1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And now Bears are sitting there with 2 picks in the top 8. Right.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Again. And then let's imagine this is like the gift that keeps on giving. Where it's like you think to yourself, this is the best predicament for the Bears, because like last year I had the #1 overall pick, I traded down. Now I get the #1 overall pick by Carolina. So it's like, God, like you said, and we're hoping that this can be turned around really quickly. And I'm at a point where I don't know, in a weird way, I don't really think it's going to be that bad, because there's still talent on this football team. This could be turned around really quickly.
Yeah.
This may be just how, maybe just the Lulu in me, but I think we can turn this around. I can see us being almost like Houston and Indianapolis, where they had a quick turnaround, where I could definitely see that happening.
In the perfect scenario all around, assuming we don't get Caleb Williams, because that to me would be the perfect scenario.
Yeah,
we're not able to strike a trade for Caleb Williams. We go and get Russell Wilson. I'm still big on that train. Depending on who we get as GM and head coach, go get Russell Wilson. Maybe trade back from 2 back to maybe 4, 5, 6. Still stay in the top 10. Get some draft capital for either next year or in second, third round this year, and then use those 2 second round picks you have to trade back up into the first round. Because remember, we have 2 of the top 10 picks in the second round via the Bears and the Montez Sweat trade.
Yeah.
Use those 2 picks to move back up into the 25 to 32 range. And maybe, I haven't done any film study yet, but possibly maybe pick up somebody like Michael Penix to try to secure that 5th-year option possibility. If Russell Wilson's not the guy, you play him for a year, because you're not going to have to give him, you're not going to have to pay that contract. He's getting cut. You can sign him to a 3-year, $120 million, $100 million contract, whatever, and then structure however you want. So you let him play a year, let somebody like Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix, whoever, if they go that route, let them sit a year and then set yourself up for 2025. You still have your first round pick. You still have all your plethora of picks that you're going to have. Like, I think to me, that would be ultimate best worst case scenario.
Yeah. And remember, number 14 still on the roster.
He's not feeding me pasta and lobster, so
just a friendly reminder.
he could be the 3rd string emergency backup.
But I still see, and that's the thing with it. It's just like, it's a lot of development that's needed on his end. We talked about it earlier. What last week was more so of he just needs somebody that can help him kind of adjust in a sense. I think with him, I think the issue is him not, and he's had a problem like this in Carolina too, as far as holding the ball. And I think a lot of people, the biggest misconception is all the offensive line is bad. They're not bad. Like, if I had to give them a grade, I could give them a C. If they were a C minus, maybe a C minus range of D plus. A lot of their issues were Sam not throwing the ball in time. So that's kind of where you kind of see some of those sacks come from that. And I think sometimes too, where when it comes for him, he throws, he doesn't throw to a point where to the point of where it needs to be. He needs to see the receiver being open. But if you see the receiver open, they're gonna gain ground. The safety go gain ground, or the corner goes gain ground. So it's just one of those where, and the thing about it, with him being a 5th round pick, he's not gonna get that leash. Like, if he was a 1st round pick, I think they would invest in that in a weird, bizarre way.
Yeah.
But I think with him being a 5th round pick, it's kind of one of those where I don't think they're gonna develop him. Like you said, I think ultimately they will get a quarterback, unfortunately. Because that's just the way of the world. That's just how it is in the NFL. Fifth round, it's crazy because you could get the diamond out of the rough out of 5th round, but you just, they're not gonna view that because they're gonna do what they feel is best for this organization. So,
Yeah, and it comes down to also, a new regime. They're not married, as the old adage. They're not married to this guy. They're not married to Sam Howell. They didn't draft him. They didn't pick him. They didn't do anything. So they have, to them, it'd be in their best interest to maybe move on from Sam Howell and say, hey, all right, this is my guy, and move forward from that.
Hell, Ron Rivera barely knew who he was. I'm gonna leave that alone.
You're gonna get me started. I might do a whole show on the whole Ron Rivera tenure.
Hey.
Starting with the infamous "Merry Christmas, everybody." Oh no, or was it Happy Thanksgiving?
Oh, so yeah, it was something crazy. I forget because it was like it's like September. It was like in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it was like the 2nd week of January. Talking about Happy.
Oh yeah, it was something crazy. Yeah, I'm like, huh?
Now both of
them. Yeah, maybe episode 76, Surviving Ron. I don't know, but hey,
surviving our Rivera.
Yeah, same. We've survived worse, but but we're here. So I did, before we kind of get into the minutia of week 18. So obviously the Pro Bowl rosters were revealed on yesterday, and Much to chagrin, I think the Carolina Panthers, the Green Bay Packers, and there's a team called the Washington Commanders. I think they were the only. I think there's another team too, but I'm not sure who it was.
Patriots.
The Patriots, yeah, the Patriots. The only team that did not have a Pro Bowler on this year. So, I mean, it's kind of So, what are your thoughts on it, Raw?
I mean, who did you want to be Tressway? Maybe that's the only person
Well, he
realistically I think we
struggled,
had a shit.
but he
Yeah,
struggled, right?
but
I
you know what?
mean,
We got half a Pro Bowl spot in Montez Sweat. I'll still
that's
take
true.
credit for that because he's
Yeah,
with
I
us for
mean,
half the season.
yeah, because he,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I mean nobody on this team really has
yeah,
stood out. Even Terry has. I don't want to say he struggled. He just really wasn't targeted a whole lot.
it's all
We're
for
going into
sure.
week 18. If this was 3-4 years ago when it's still a 17-week season, this would be his first season without a thousand receiving yards. I think going into this one, he
Yeah.
needs either 64, 84, one of the two, to break that 1,000 yard mark. With I think it would be his 10th quarterback to do, that he's had in that time, which is
Mhm.
crazy. Yeah, I mean, we didn't really. Nobody's really played well. There's a reason we're 4-12. If you're 4-12, you don't really have a whole lot of great players on your team.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only people that deserve to be is me and you. I mean, that's it. We the only
We've been here
one
every
to get
week,
to get a trip to Orlando.
right?
Yeah, because everybody else they stuck up the joint. Yeah, and and the people were, and being in those commander groups, a lot of people was talking about Trust. I'm like, well, he's if there's somebody that should be on there, but even with him, he madly struggled as well. As far as his play. But I mean, yeah, nobody, you know, nobody. I, this has been a nightmare type season,
Yeah.
and like you said, if you're 4-12, more than likely you will not get a bat in the Pro Bowl. You know, it's crazy because just especially from last year and a very emotional one with Jeremy Reeves last year, making it his first time appearance, and then this year coming off of this, and then with the injury with him, and
Yeah.
now we have zero Pro Bowlers. So
I think had
see, man.
Montez not been traded, I think he would have been our one selection.
Oh, for sure. Yo, yeah, he definitely would have been. Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, he'd have been. Yeah, he'd have been hard because he still leads us in sacks
That's crazy,
on both teams.
depressing
Like this,
actually.
I know, man. That's the first time in NFL. That's something we always a part of, like NFL
It's
history in the most
in the
craziest
worst
ways,
ways.
in the worst ways. Like only us would have a do that. Only we would be doing something crazy like that. But it's crazy. But yeah. So um, of course, Rob is a non-Howell guy at this point.
Yep.
And hey, and hey, it's nothing wrong with that. That's what makes the dynamic perfect. So now Sam Howell gets the nod against Dallas, obviously. What's your thoughts on Sam finishing out in the finale?
Where do I start? Where do I start? So first time since 2017 that we have had the same quarterback start all games in the season. In 2017 it was all 16 games. This year it's all 17 games. Um, First person to do that since Kirk Cousins. But I mean, at least when Kirk Cousins did it, we were fighting for a playoff spot that last game of the season, and he's lucked into it. Sam Howell has lucked into holding that title this year because he was not supposed to start last week. He should not have started this week. I would honestly, at this point, start Jake Fromm. Let's just see, because maybe if Rivera knew Jake Fromm was as good as he was, that he would have started him sooner to do something. Because somehow he's not going to have the same magic that he had last year, which gave us the false hope into the offseason. Because Dallas actually has something to play for. They have a division title to play for, a potential number two seed, and a home playoff game, possibly two, depending on how the first round goes. As you know, Eagles are facing the Giants. Giants, they're not a great team, but they don't lay down like other teams in the NFC East do, and just let you take it. Look, I hope he plays well. I hope it's competitive. It'd be a nice way to go out. But again, if you win, and or if you win, Arizona loses, the Patriots lose. Now you're looking at potentially being fourth, possibly fifth overall pick, which I don't want because that means that's more you got to give up to move all the way up to one. And I'd rather move from 2 to 1 than 5 to 1.
Um, yeah, I think just give Sam an opportunity. Hope this could be one of those games where, he's lost his confidence, and you could it's just it is what it is. I think, like we said, he hasn't been the same since almost up, since what's that week 11 against the Giants. I think he's never been the same ever since. So it's in on this thing. Hopefully this could somewhat be a confidence builder for him going forward, going into 2024 for him because he started off pretty good. I mean, he showed flashes that he could be the starter here in Washington for the long term, and things just didn't go right. He hit what I would call the rookie wall, and more so, I think maybe just that, and then coupled with people defense to start figuring them out. And it's just one of those where if he can have a game, at least a salvageable game in this regard, and get his confidence up, and and can and potentially fight for the starting position next year. So I mean, because that's what you really want to do. You want to be competitive. Whoever they bring in at quarterback, can there's be a quarterback battle going into 2024. Will you be a part of it? And you look at it. If he has a sort of a good game, hopefully they can help him out and give him somewhat of some good tape for whoever comes in to kind of see, especially in a game like this where nothing really matters. Where, like you said, it's already they've already looked like they have it. They've shown like they don't care. Like you can tell on the field where it's not competitive anymore. So if Sam can put up some good film against us, almost similar to like he did last year against a team Dallas that was playing for something then, but not as significant as it is this year, as they pretty much they win the NFC East, and um, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, this whole back and forth with it's going to be it's been a little crazy, but it is what it is. You know, so that'd be another part of surviving Ron.
A whole documentary on it, man.
Oh, one, yeah. So, and normally, and that's this part is like it just shows you like how bad this year is. Because normally this would be a week where y'all amped up and hype. I mean, you think about it. If it's 40, 72 hours before we play the Cowboys, and I just feel so deflated. I almost feel like it's just a regular game. I feel like we're just playing like a normal team, not our story rival. So, what's your thoughts on this? On Dallas versus Washington in our finale. What you got?
Don't care. I last year, I don't know. Last year was different because again, like we we were competitive late in December.
Yeah,
And then we got to right around Christmas. We're out of it. After the two Giants games in the 3 weeks, the tie and then the Sunday night robbery that
yeah,
they instilled on us.
yeah,
Going into that or playing against Dallas last week or last year, week 18, we had a chance to spoil their season. We kept them from even having a chance at winning the division. And it was nice to see what we thought we were going to have in Sam Howell. This year, Cowboys, yes, we have a chance to keep them from winning the division, but I'd like to keep the streak alive of no repeat division winners since the 03-04 season. Because I would like for us to be the team that does that in 2024 and the 24-25 season and the 25-26 season. So, and we know what we have in Sam Howell. You have somebody who is going to be a career backup. He's going to be just good enough. He's going to be a better Taylor Heineke. He'll be good enough to come in, win you a game or two, give you that little spark late in the season. But I don't think he's ever really going to be the dude in any team in the NFL. He's one of the best 64 quarterbacks in the world. Is he one of the best 32? I do not think so.
Yeah. That boy good though, but he just been struggling. So it's like that. But yeah, this game is just gonna be really interesting how it all plays out. I mean, obviously, like I said, last year was a lot different because we wanted to at least get that eighth win, kind of be over that 500 mark. So last year kind of meant a lot more, especially considering the fact of the quarterback play of Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz, that whole going back and forth with them, and then obviously putting in Carson Wentz. We go, good lord. I think we might as well just start surviving Ron the 2022 season. My God, like
Yeah.
all these things now you're thinking about it, like see that's another one where okay, then you insert a Sam Howell at the time, and I was thinking, as far as it kind of reminded me that was gonna be like a Patrick Mahomes type situation where he came in his rookie at the tail end of his career, at tail end of his rookie year, and then went on to start. Didn't think he was gonna be the MVP or anything, but like Pat Mahomes. But you kind of seen some flashes in that particular game, and a lot of people was kind of poo pooing it like, well, we Dallas weren't really playing for nothing, but they were, but but yeah, I think this is gonna be one of those games where I think you'll look at it from a standpoint of, you know, Dallas. It probably will be more likely to be a home game. I mean, essentially, where you
Yeah.
have a lot of Dallas, and especially considering the fact what's at stake. Having a game like this on the road where you can potentially win the NFC East. I know a lot of fans will clamor to see that opportunity to see this team win the division. It's going to be really interesting how this all play out, especially when you got the Giants and the Eagles playing right at the same time. So it's gonna be a lot of kind of schoolboy watching amongst not the players, but more so like the coach staff for Dallas. They'll
Yeah.
so it's gonna be one of those where it's gonna be an interesting game. Like you said, from the standpoint, it sucks that the season ends, but it's kind of one of the things where it's like, all right, this is it, savoring the moment, but then it's like, all right, once it's over, all right, it is what it is. But yeah, it's it's kind of like it's like you said, it's not like how it would normally be, when we play Dallas. Like this is really by far probably the most least one I'm excited about.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like, all right, I watch the game, and I know the season's over, and then the other season starting Monday as far as the off season, and then now Harris putting imprints on his football team. So yeah, it's going to be definitely a uninterested team, and it's funny to think, man, we're a 13-point underdog. That's wild.
Crazy.
But I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, with this new regime, that's not gonna happen. I'm telling you, that's this
I
the
hope
only
not.
time it's not gonna happen. Y'all better not be eating no turkey legs like y'all did on Thanksgiving. That's done. That's not gonna ever happen again.
Because
Never.
I tell you, I'm tired, boss.
I'm
I'm tired.
tired. I'm tired. Like I'm about to bring out a Tide bottle. I'm tired to show you how much I'm tired. But yeah, man, it is exhausting being a Washington Commanders fan. So it's been very you know it's not fun. This is this is not fun, especially considering the fact that this is one where God, just imagine if we were playing for something, and then just imagine just the pomp and circumstances game could have truly would have been.
Yeah.
But now it's just I feel like we're gonna be on the road, and don't be surprised when the guys come through. The player rivals, guys got black trash bags.
Yep.
And you know,
If I was Josh Harris, I'd tell them all before Sunday, hey, bring your own trash bags. You're not wasting. You're not gonna waste my own.
damn, what's the humanity, Rob? Was it BYOTB?
Yeah, BYOB,
Bring
bring your
your
own
own trash
bag.
bag.
Yeah,
BYOB.
damn right.
Okay, you're right. Okay. I mean, hey.
In fact, go ahead and pack it up before the game. After the game, you walk in, you take a shower, you pick up your bag, you leave, you go home, and don't bet on coming back. And like Terry, you can keep your locker. You ain't gotta throw nothing away. In fact, when everybody's done, you pick whatever locker you want. B Rob, you can keep your locker. Sam, you can keep a locker. I don't know which one, but you can keep a locker. Make room for Caleb's. In fact, put Caleb's together. Put Caleb Williams' locker together. Make sure it's nice, dust it. Make sure his seat's ready to go, nice and cushioned. I'm ready for the season to be over.
I mean, hey, to each his own. But like you said, poor kid gonna have to move out that penthouse. Oh boy,
Yep.
poor kid. But
hey, it's a tough business. I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I don't.
yeah, I mean, yeah, he living way better than I could ever imagine, and he's half my age.
Yep. Child.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't have penthouse views. I just got a view of an alley. Hey,
A view of a street and my neighbors.
just get it how you live. But
Yep.
shout out to him. So, all right. So our final prediction of the year for this Washington Commanders football team. All right, what you got, Rob?
I think it's going to be somewhat competitive. I think Dallas will move away and they'll pull away at the end. I'm looking at possibly maybe a 28-17 when Washington will try to keep it close, kind of like they did with San Francisco. It'll be close for a little bit. We'll get our hopes up, and then we'll go over that false ledge and tumble, and it'll end badly. Sam Howell will probably throw up a late pick or a couple late picks, make some bad decisions, and Dallas will pull away 28-17.
Okay. All right. So I think this game is going to be a little bit interesting. I think what's going to end up happening, I think Dallas, in a weird way, I think they're going to try to attack real quick, try to kind of get a huge lead, so they can kind of get some rest, and see what they're going to do. Because I still think, because I'm really thinking they are going to. Because people, even though they're gonna say, "Well, this prevents them from doing scoreboard watching, this, that, and third," but they're going to know what the score is in that Philly Eagles game, and I think that Philly Eagles game, I got a strange feeling. I think the Giants can win that football game because now you got Tyrod Taylor in that game, and I can see them calling the dogs off of us in the third quarter and resting guys. So I could definitely see Dallas in the third quarter maybe potentially packing it in, knowing that the Giants maybe have one of a comfortable lead, and they'll also have a comfortable lead against Washington. So I definitely think we'll I got the Cowboys winning 35-21. I think they're gonna jump on us, I'm thinking maybe they're probably going to the locker room maybe with a 28-7 lead on us, a 21-point lead, and I think they're gonna call the dogs off in the third quarter, and or make it competitive at the end, maybe some too late, as many people call it in the business, empty calorie touchdowns by Sam Howell, to kind of get someone in position, but 31, 35, 35-21, Dallas. But we shall see. And I, that time that they'd be up. Most of the guys probably gonna debate what they're gonna have for dinner, And then also which airport they're gonna fly out of. Am I gonna fly out of Dulles, Reagan, or or may hit the PG. I mean the PJ, the private jet, and getting the hell out of town. So
Yeah, all
you
I
know
can tell
how it
you
is.
is Carrie Underwood waiting all week for Sunday night. I'm waiting all week for Monday morning.
Hmm.
I'm gonna have my phone on loud. It'll be a repeat of 4 years ago when I get woken up to da 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 da. A coach has been fired, let go, relieved of it,
Yeah,
however they want to word it.
yeah.
They better
I'm
not
gonna
word it no mutually agree to part ways.
no. That's Bill Belichick. Probably more likely. You hear that wording from Bill or from the Patriots probably.
Unless Ron
But
retires. I'll let him retire.
you let Ron retire.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was my thought was going into the season where I thought that this team was at least going to make somewhat of a legitimate playoff run, and then he just retires and then go upstairs or go and have another like an executive role upstairs or whatever, or be a process part of the process of hiring our new head coach and all that. But I don't think that's gonna work. So but yeah, but yeah. So that wraps up episode 74. Rob, where they can find you on social media, final thoughts, and all that good stuff. What you got?
Y'all already know where you can find me, FNC Pod on Twitter, Football and Chill Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, Football and Chill Pod over on TikTok. Hope everybody had a good New Year. Saturday, I think we're gonna be doing our final CU Sunday. Saturday morning, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific. Um, that's really it. All I have in the meantime before we start getting ready for playoffs, Super Bowl week, and then draft coverage.
Yeah. 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 So we got pretty much follow me on my other podcast, Couch Coach Live. Add that on Wednesdays, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The website couchcoachlive.com. Social media pretty much a Couch Coach Live podcast available anywhere you get your podcasts. And also here, Commanders in the chat, social media, Commanders ITC on Twitter/X, Facebook, Instagram, and all that. And then so we'll have a special edition show on Monday potentially, but what we'll do is once we iron out the details of that, I'll post that in the chat and kind of get all that together. So
Yep.
expect an episode really soon as we wait on the impending firing of Ron Rivera. So we'll dive into that on Monday at some point, but we haven't pinpointed the time yet because we don't know what time this is going to potentially happen. Like you said, it could be, could be first thing in the morning, which more likely it probably will be. I mean, it just makes sense,
Yeah.
And but yeah. So this wraps up episode 75. We'll catch you guys in the next couple of days, and we're out.